Eve has been amazingly well behaved for being in town.
But you
like...
yelled at me.
Shh. The fact that I yell at my kids is a secret. We don't want our viewers to know. That never happens. In my house, I never yell.
A Utah YouTuber who claimed to offer help to parents in raising children defended her treatment of her own children. Now she's charged with child abuse.
Alex here with a video on Ruby Franke. This is the Utah mother and YouTuber who apparently was just arrested with what Law and Crimes Sidebar channel. You guys can watch this as well. I'll go ahead and put a card up. They're calling horrific evidence of child abuse. And Anjanette Livy was the one who, the first video I watched was from her. There's a few other videos on there. There's like a Utah podcast that's like 3 hours long that discusses stuff on this mom's channels. She had one called 8 Passengers, and that one was shut down. And now she has a second one. This one is not with her husband. Apparently she and her husband have not been living together for over a year. There is litigation going on. There's a family court involved. I don't know how recently or who instituted the divorce proceedings, but that's been discussed as well. The husband denies being involved in this, and apparently the charges are all in connection to the second channel, which from what I have seen was started with this mom, Ruby Franke, and a business partner that she has, and this one does not appear to involve the husband. So that seems like that may be plausible. The kids were apparently, there's all sorts of allegations that they were tied with duct tape, that there were lacerations from ropes, and that I guess 2 of the kids are alleged to have been emaciated. I guess they weren't being fed. One of them snuck out of a window and like ran to a neighbor's house or something. Another thing that's interesting is the 20-year-old daughter who went to college, I guess, was commenting that she was relieved that finally her mom had been arrested, which is mind-blowing to me. But at the same time, when I think about it, she probably felt safe because she had moved out and wasn't under the custody and control of her mom. Still, though, a lot of victims, they won't want that for their parent. Even though they've been victimized, they just won't want that. So, I mean, that to me is, it indicates that this person in probably this child, this 20-year-old, probably in some way did not have that emotional bond with their mom. And that's like the only way I can get my head around that, because there's so many situations of kids being abused, and this is not that quickly, just a couple years later. That's not usually something that you see where their kid matures so quickly and somehow they've just gained the wisdom. It's, in my opinion, most likely there was just no bond there to begin with, and almost like this kid sees their mom as a stranger in some weird way. I know that there's been YouTube channels that discuss the dynamics of child abuse and stuff, and I wonder if anybody here has any comments on that particular thing, because that does surprise me. Another thing that I wonder is what happens when a parent uses a YouTube channel to generate revenue with their kids. I know that they have laws in some states, California in particular, with child acting, where they set aside money that the child earns so that when they become an adult, they have some of that, because they had problems with parents who are just spending all of the money. I know they have, at least in Nevada, this is probably actually very common, something called a petition for minors compromise, where they actually ask the judge to approve release of money that would belong to a child. I've heard of attorneys that work in that field. There's one attorney in particular who's told me that they have told, they've had clients come in, hey, this happened to my kid, I want you to sue them. And they tell the client, okay, we're going to do that. And then the client's like wondering about the money, and they're like, yeah, you know, this money gets set aside for your child. You're not going to actually have any of it. And then they stop hearing from the parent. The parent just stops going. It's like, it's disturbing. I don't know how many of these situations where the parent really just cares about money versus where it's only a consideration. But in my opinion, it would probably help YouTube's image if they did something like this whenever they noticed that channels were using kids. Because this isn't the first person to do this. I'm sure there's other channels out there. And then viewers start watching the channels and get upset when they see things that are troubling, and they start reporting the parent, and then they're like, why isn't anyone doing anything? Why isn't YouTube doing anything? Probably it would be a good idea for YouTube to flag channels like this Ruby Franke's channel and make sure a whole lot of her revenue is withheld for those kids, because they've been made into public figures by what appears to be a parent who doesn't care about them and who's actually profiting off of them. So, yeah, guys, this is all I really have for this video. I may do a follow-up depending on how many comments that I have. Hopefully it's interesting to you guys and you check out some of those other channels that are discussing the issue. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to post them down in the comments below. And I will see you guys next time.